Hi guys, welcome back to WDSportz. It's me, Ahmed, and today we're with a special guest, Simon. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Odds and Evens from YourLeagueTV, and it's good to see you, and good to have a chat.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's just basically a chat because, of course, we're talking about the big C again. Obviously, not that C, but Sea of Corona, which is just spreading like wildfire. Obviously, it's affected us, and I'm sure it's affected you because I don't know about you, but football is just we don't know the future. Well, I don't, unless you have one of those balls you can see into the future with. I don't know, but I don't know. What do you think the future is? What in your level and in any level, really?
Well, it's a very difficult question, Ahmed. None of us know what's going to happen from day to day. You know, it's just very difficult to tell what when it's all going to start again. I mean, they've made the decisions at non-league level.
What do you think about that decision? Do you think it's right, or do you think it's just because I've got a theory that obviously the FA are almost pussyfooting around the Premier League, Championship League One, and League Two, because obviously those leagues make a lot of money compared to leagues lower down in the football pyramid, and obviously they do that decision with the top leagues. There is that fear that they are going to have a lot of resistance from sponsorship and owners who have a lot of money. Do you think the FA just binned it off because it is grassroots, or do you think they're doing it for the safety of players?
I, to be I watch a lot. I watch a lot of stuff. I've had quite a bit of time, probably like yourself. So I watch stuff that I wouldn't normally have time to watch. So, for instance, I watched a thing the other night on another channel on like Periscope, and the guy was talking to a couple of managers, and one of the managers was Mark White from Dorking Wanderers, who are in the Vanarama South, and he explained it very clearly about one. He said that the Premier League level and Championship level, especially at Premier League, these are global stars. They're massive assets, and as you say, the sponsorship deals are they're in the millions, if not billions. So they can't just at that level. I don't think they can just drop it and say, because they're going to. What they're going to do? They're going to lose audiences, etc., etc. What I think the other point that he made is, and whether it's true or not, it's not been verified. But I trust Mark. I know him quite well. What he was saying was that the FA or the National League was sitting down, and some people were opposed to what's happened, but they were kind of outvoted, and it's kind of a democratic decision, and I hope that the decision, and I'm sure the decision has been based purely on safety of fans, safety of players. This is it's an unprecedented and very extremely, as you know, serious situation. I mean, nearly 700 people have died.
Yeah, of course. As they say, there's more important things than football. Of course, at the end of the day, lives are at stake here. But another thing as well, you spoke about a manager. Do you think some managers are going to find it hard next season? Say, for example, you're one of the teams or in perhaps going to win the league, or perhaps go through promotion, who are now have to start again. Do you think it's going to be hard for managers to motivate players if this decision stands, or do you, as well, other clubs, for example, clubs near the relegation zone, do you think they've always been given a second chance in a weird way to try and stay in that league again? Or
I think that those that were in the promotion place. So I mean, I'll take, for instance, in the league that Whitehawk are in. I follow Whitehawk, as people may or may not know, from Brighton, and we were in a playoff place. That's fine. But Hastings were 6 points clear with 10 games to go.
Exactly.
They must feel really hard done by, because what people need to understand, or what my understanding is, there is a lot of investment goes in. These budgets are. The budgets
it's not like money comes out of the air. It's obviously people putting in a lot of money, time, and effort into these clubs.
Yeah, and you know, and it must be really tough. But I mean, what the alternative was points per game or average points per game. So there was an alternative, but I think that those that would have been promoted or looked like, we don't know what they could have lost the next 10 games.
Yeah, exactly. You can't predict football.
You can't predict the
Mm.
game, and that's why people love it. So there is a sort of dichotomy, if you like, is we love the game because it's unpredictable and you don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, we can't be expected to predict that certain teams would have gone up. You know, Wealdstone must be terrible. Feel really bad. They were having a fantastic season. Same with Hampton Waterlooville. Going to, what is it? Tiptree, Malden and Tiptree, flying. And then when you look at the relegation places, I think people must be sighing with a relief to say, whoa, hold on.
We've been given another chance.
We've been given a reprieve.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is that although teams have been given a reprieve at that level, in terms of relegation stuff, you know, we don't know what's going to happen to them financially. I mean, this is the big worry.
That's another thing that I'm worried about, because obviously, as someone who looks at the business side of football as well, you know, these clubs technically, correct me if I'm wrong, because you might know more, almost run on a game-to-game basis. You know, they rely on people to come in to watch the game, bums on seats, if you like, type of football running. And now, obviously, they've had this massive corona hit that's affected everyone in non-league and grassroots football. But there's no sorts of like almost parachute money. I don't know what the FA are dealing with, or if they're going to get any help financially, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of clubs who might go into administration because they're not just getting the support they need and need to get, to be honest.
Well, you know, it is a worry. It's also interesting. It'll be interesting to see what does happen, because at certain levels you're working towards a budget. The other thing is that, say, those clubs that have got owners or benefactors that are, or investors that are investing in the team, some of those investors may go out of business. You know, this is exactly. You know, it's already been the news yesterday. 800,000 small businesses, or relatively small business, medium-sized business, could go to the wall. So their sponsorship money goes out. I mean, if a team at certain levels getting what, 400 fans in paying a tenner, it still doesn't, you know, depending on who they've got playing for them and what the wage bill is, some of them still can't manage on that income. So they need a secondary income, and everyone's looking for sponsorship, and everyone's looking for a little bit of extra money to put out a good team.
Exactly.
And then you've got the fan-owned clubs. So fan-owned clubs like, you know, Lewis and other fan-owned clubs will probably be all right, because what is it, 40 quid or subscriptions of this, but they're still reliant on some sponsorship. So it's going to be interesting to find out. What it might do is just level out the playing field. What I'd like to see is that everyone plays on the same budget. This is radical. Everyone plays on the same budget. You've got a budget of, I mean, in the South Ryman, South East, or Vanera, whatever it's called, the South East, wherever we're in, let's just call it the Ryman, the Bet Victor Ryman South, the South East. There, some budgets are like 150,000, and some budgets are 40,000.
So what you're saying is now they should learn from the coronavirus, almost when it comes to financially, and almost put in financial fair play rules that we see in UEFA try to put in with, e.g. Man City, and then put it in lower levels. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, because I think so. Because then it would promote. Look, we're fans. We want to go along. We want to see the best players. I go to Whitehall. I go to that level. I see some fantastic players.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but they kind of come at a price. You know, you have to pay the going rate for someone to drop down from what, Vanarama South to come into the Ryman or the Bet Victor.
Okay.
You have to pay them the going rate.
Yeah.
You know, some of these players have got secondary jobs. They work part-time. Those jobs, that income may not be coming in. So I'm not saying deprive players of income. You earn what you can while you're in the game. But I think that something that could be thought about is if everyone's on the same budget, for example, 50 grand a year, and then you have to go and search out your talent and you have to find the talent. And that might breed more, or give more youngsters a chance and everyone a bit more time to breed their own talent, if you like, homegrown.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've thought of this really well, to be honest. But you may know this more than me. But players at the non-league level, obviously, at the moment, there's a lot of talk about Premier League players still getting paid massive amounts of wages compared to non-playing staff who are forced to take, I think, a 20% pay cut. I don't know the whole details about it, but are these non-league players? Do you know any of them who are still getting paid from the club, or is it just not getting paid at all?
Well, some aren't getting paid at all because they're not on contracts.
Yeah.
So if you take a team, you might have a team that's got 1 or 2 or 3 players on contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got to see out their contract. That contract will be up, I think it's the end of May. So you've still got to pay them for basically March, April and May. And then there's other players that, so the players that aren't on contract are basically sitting around waiting to find out what's happened. They don't know what's going to happen in terms of their football, of their football career and where they're going to be playing next season.
I mean, it's worrying times for everyone involved. And another thing I wanted to ask you, because obviously, you have a lot with White Hawk and you're very centered about non-league football and football at that level. What do you think about Premier League players still getting paid phenomenal amount of wages? Do you think they should take a pay cut, or do you think that it's not really their fault and they are contracted to get paid that much week in, week out, so therefore it's not really their fault?
Listen, it's just I just found out today that I think, don't quote me, but it came up on the phone. It said that the Premier League clubs have recommended or insisted, or I think they've recommended a 30% pay cut for all Premier League players.
I mean, for me, that makes logical sense because obviously for someone who works around football and tries to get into the football industry, obviously, like, I'm not going to be a player. I think I learned that when I was 12. But, you can't expect someone who is trying to keep the club running financially at this stage to take a pay cut that is really going to affect them, because obviously these people are on salary that aren't the same as the players or the same as, like you say, non-league players. So I think it is right for them to take a pay cut at this point, and obviously it is a national emergency. But I don't think some players will be willing for that. And do you think there could be possible moves at any level? Say, for example, there's a club that is stopping a player's wages, even though he's got a good rapport with the club and everything like that. However, there's a new club that is still saying, if you sign with us, we'll pay you the wages. Do you think any transfer stories will happen like that? Or do you think it's just going to be people not really going to stay with their clubs?
That's a difficult question, Ahmed. I mean, it's kind of down to the individual, down to agents.
Yeah.
I think there will be a certain degree of sort of skullduggery that might go down, and a bit of sort of that kind of business of people being approached while this situation's gone. I would hope not, on a human level, that people will realise this is an unprecedented situation, that we're all going to play it by the rules. We're all going to play it fair. I mean, the FA have got to come out. I mean, they've probably lost billions, possibly.
Do you think the FA is doing enough at this point? Sorry to interrupt. Do you think they're doing enough, or do you think they're almost hiding behind their almost like black screens and their computer screens, are not really talking to fans, are not really addressing clubs on a one-to-one basis? Do you think they're not doing enough, or do you think you could argue, well, they can't really do much because at the end of the day they're only an overseer? They can't really physically direct the clubs as they would like to?
No, I think I think you've got the FA and then you've got the Premier League. So there's always going to be that. There's always going to be that battle there. There's going to be the some of the chairmen and the owners will, some have got. It's like anything. Some clubs have got endless resource. Pretty much. We just don't. You just don't really know what's good. The problem is there's no transparency. You don't really know. And the FA, what's going on? The FA is basically, an untouchable group of people.
Yeah.
And I think that they could come out and say, look, it is the beautiful game. Their tagline is for all, which means it's for everyone.
Yeah.
We value the fans. We've got a load of reserves of financial reserves, and we're gonna filter that down to the pyramid, to the clubs that could go out of business. But whether they do that or not is another. One would hope that we're going to live. Everyone's talking about once this is over, whenever it is over, that the world will become a kinder, better place, and everyone will be kinder to each other, etc. Which I really hope happens. But whether it does or not, in football, it's a cutthroat business, and we just have to wait and see. But they could come out and make some gestures to the fans and say, look, okay, we'll do something. But you're not really hearing anything.
Yeah, and on a point I want to try and end on, what's your advice, obviously, because you're a fan of yourself, like you say, White Hawk, at the time, I'm sure you're feeling frustrated because from someone who's followed you, that there was that journey you were going on, and obviously, like you say, they were on the cusp of greatness, not to sound like a cliche American movie there, but what's your advice for someone who's sitting at home, who's frustrated at the time, from a Liverpool fan who's about to perhaps definitely win the league, as a United fan, to someone who was on the cusp of seeing their team actually fight for professionalism into League Two? What's your advice for them? So it'd be interesting to see what you'd say about that.
Well, for me personally, it's I'm week sort of 2, all right, at a push, week 3 in. Haven't been to a game. I haven't seen the people that I normally see. I mean, at non-league level, as you probably know, it's smaller crowds. I've got
you get to know everyone there.
Loads of people. I miss seeing the people. I worry about those people. It's
exactly.
And I think I worry about the volunteers. Some of these volunteers have been with the clubs for like 30, 40, 50 years in some cases. It is their life. And if I'm feeling like this and I'm really missing the interaction and really missing the game and really missing the whole sort of scene, if you like, then how must those people be feeling? If they're older, they're on their own, and all they've got in their life pretty much is their football club. And that goes right the way through to the Premier League. It doesn't kind of discriminate on that level. So it's taken a big chunk of our lives away very suddenly. And I don't know what the advice. My advice would be: try and stay in touch with people that you go to the games with. Try and do a bit of Zoom stuff. I mean, last Saturday we did a virtual game on Twitter. We raised some money for the food bank down in Brighton and Guernsey Mind. Guernsey were really up for it. I mean, let's get creative, guys. Let's get creative. Let's be at the forefront. Let's not wait for the FA. Let's not wait for the authority. Let's do it ourselves. Let's get WDSportz out there. There's creative stuff we can do, and we just keep it going. I feel for people that create, that are full-time content creators like yourselves, like your Instant Replay. But what I see is you're not giving up. You're keeping going. And that's what we need to do, and we need to support each other in doing that. And I'll always support that. It's brilliant. It's for me, it's a hobby. For me, it's a different case. But I do feel for those that are losing out because of this. But I think if we remain creative and we have a voice, and we carry on. I think, you know, we're always a day nearer to the season starting again, or whatever.
Kicking off again. But yeah, that is brilliant advice, Simon. I hope they put down the plaque one day, you know, because that is really good. And obviously that's what we have to stand for, because if we start giving up, if, you know, you stop doing what you're doing and I stop what we're doing and everyone stop what we're doing, then obviously football fans will get bored and stuff like that, you know. Obviously we watch old classics, you know. I think they're going to show Euro 96 on ITV. So if you want to replay the half.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so exactly, you know. But just finally, thanks for your time, Simon, and hopefully we'll try and do this virtually every week. But I guarantee people are going to enjoy it. We'll make sure to link everything down below so people can check you out at YourLeagueTV. Maybe buy that
Lovely.
shirt if they want to, you know, wear it out on a night out. We don't know. But yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
I'll wear it anywhere.
Yeah, you might get buried in it. Like, yeah, but
I'll get you one sorted out. No worries. No problem.
class, Simon. Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you so much for your time. And hopefully we'll see you next week, or we'll do this again sometime. Thank you.
Yeah. Listen, guys. Listen, to fans, non-league fans, football league fans, football fans around the globe. Check out these guys. They're doing things. Come on, let's support it. These are young guys getting creative, and they're not harming anyone. They're good people. Okay.
You're gonna make me
See you
cry,
later,
Simon.
Ahmed. God bless.
Thank you
Keep
so
the
much.
faith.
Thank you.